I'm calling to order this special meeting of the Wilson County Commissioners Court. Today's date is Wednesday, June 3rd, 2026, 3 p.m. Let the minutes reflect that we have a quorum, but Commissioner Aiken is absent. Before we begin, we'll have a prayer. And let's see, Commissioner Martin, would you lead us in a quick little prayer?
Sure. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for today where we can come together and gather to do the business of the county. Father, today I want to again remember Marvin Quinney for the service that he provided to this county for many years. And Lord, we know there are many who are out there ailing and need your helping hand. Father, we just ask that you bless us to your service for the service of the citizens of Wilson County. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
All right, we move to agenda item number 3 for public comments. Do we have any public comments? We have Miss Pamela Shaw. And we have a 3-minute rule, but since you're the only one, I'll give you 5 minutes.
Actually, I think
Okay.
it's less than 3 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Good afternoon. My name's Pamela Shaw, and I'm a resident of Wilson County. Actually, Mr. Martin is our commissioner, and good to meet you. I'm here to remind you that a significant number of Wilson County residents are opposed to the Massey Data Center, and additionally, citizens of Wilson County, many of whom have voted for this commission, want transparency in regards to future projects, such and in advance, and also ones that have already been approved. We're speaking specifically about data centers, but also power plants, solar farms, and battery storage facilities. And again, these projects have significant impact on our way of life, our health, our environment, and again, most importantly, our way of life. So we hope you'll listen to us. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We move to the only agenda item we have here, discuss, take action to approve a resolution of the Commissioners Court of Wilson County, Texas to disapprove the proposed acquisition and construction of the new appraisal district building in Wilson County. So before we begin on it, we have some discussion. I had a little chance to visit Ms. Coldaway yesterday. I went and seen her office, and we discussed the situation and that we were going to go forward with the resolution. She understood. I would like to tell you that is one cramped little office. There was a lot of people in there, and I did not expect to see that many people in there. So I understand about how little that facility is. But then we also discussed the situation of the county needing space as well. We're pretty cramped for space all over the county. So having said that, I offered her to come here. She has a little presentation. I would ask the court to please be courteous and listen to what she has to say. And ma'am, you're welcome to come up to the podium and give your presentation.
Good afternoon. I'm Jennifer Coldaway, the Chief Appraiser at the Appraisal District. This is Becca Lyric. She's the Deputy Chief. We do have a presentation for y'all. It was emailed out. I would like to say in advance, though, that our board is having a meeting tomorrow afternoon, and I'm asking our board to rescind the resolution. After meeting with some of the entities, they're asking for more time, some more information, just different things that we don't have in that presentation right now. So I'm asking our board to rescind it so we can resend it out, resubmit it at a later date with the information that's being requested. I'm more than happy to still go through the presentation, but I do think some things will change in it.
Do you want to go through the presentation, ma'am?
I think there's a couple key points that we would like to talk about. Maybe not go through the whole presentation, but there are some key points.
You'll direct the IT people. They'll get you started.
So that was just a copy of the original resolution that was sent out by our board. So that is our current building that we have, and then the building that we are looking to move into. We do need more space, as the judge said. We are cramped. We are holding hearings in the hallway. We are at our max. Staffing-wise, we have no room to grow. We have no room to add any more staff because there's no offices. I understand this is a big project. This is a big ask for money, but the CAD has not come out and asked for any money for a building or a new updates to our building for 29 years. The CAD has had this same location since 1997. And then when the tornado took out our building, we used reserves, insurance money, and some material that we had already bought to fix our roof at that point. We used that to do the siding of our building we currently have. So we saved money in every aspect we could, so we didn't have to come ask for more money at that point. So we've done, I believe, a really good job at not having to come to the entities and ask for money in the past, because we knew in the future we were gonna need a bigger building, we were gonna need a new location. On top of that, we have refunded money to the entities from our budget every year. So since 2004, 2005, we actually just got those numbers in, but since 2015 to 2025, the CAD has refunded $169,239.67 to the county alone from our budget that was unused funds. A total of $755,274 have been refunded to all those entities in those years. So when we don't use our budget, we don't get to keep it for future reasons. We have to refund it back to the entities. I feel like that shows we're very cautious with our money. We're very cautious with what we're doing in our office. We're not spending to spend. We've taken time to find a building that would meet our needs now and our future needs. I truly think that this building would be the CAD's building for 40, 50 years from now. I don't see a reason in the future to get another building at that point. We're trying to plan ahead at this time now.
And to go back to 2015, when we used all the money that we had to do the building, we also refunded money that year as well. So again, like to just, key what, Jenny said is we are very good stewards with the money that we receive. And at the end of the year, we're not trying to spend it so we don't have to give it back. We're refunding every year.
Ms. Caldwell, is there any other research that you've done, other alternatives aside from that building?
So further in the presentation, we have looked at alternate options, which was land for sale on 181. I keep going. No, you'll have to keep going, sorry. A little bit more. So right there is the option. Those are two pieces of property that are for sale on 181. For 2 acres of land, it's for sale for $1.5 million, and for 3.27 acres, it's for sale for 1.5 and a little bit of change on that one. And that's just for land. That doesn't include any building. We would still have to build on it. We felt that the CAD and our board, we have 2 board members here, felt that just wasn't a good option. The next slide is adding on to our building. So we got a quote to add on to our building, correct the parking lot, and the starting quote was at the 1.9 million, and that wasn't including all the dirt work. I don't know if you've been to our building, but in the back of our building is a slope, so it would need a lot of dirt work for it, and without getting an engineer to come over and give us those quotes, this was the bare minimum starting of that quote from the builder. That still wouldn't fix the problems of our location, our parking lot, different things like that.
How many square feet were y'all talking about adding on to the current building?
So we were going equal to what the new building would have been. So it was doubling our square footage we have now.
Are y'all gonna be able to utilize that many square feet, doubling the size?
Yes, sir. So on top of, looking at a bigger building for our needs, is we're trying to get more secure and safety for our building. So we have ARB hearings in our building, which right now, as the judge saw, our ARB are held in the hallway and then in one of the boardrooms, and that's not safety, for anybody in our office. So what we're looking at is to do like much other appraisal districts have done in the state of Texas, is they have a separate entrance and separate side for the ARB versus the CAD staff and the CAD offices, to try to keep them separate, but also have the safety reasons for it.
Well, I'll pick up here. I think you've kind of missed the problem that we have. And the primary problem that we have is that none of our appointed members to your board have come to us and brought this to our attention, nor did we get much notice. We still question somewhat the legality of the way that you sent this notice. And I don't think there's enough exploration of options. I mean, I understand that, because I'll be honest with you, I was on the Floresville Independent School Board when we approved your building 29 years ago, okay? And Mr. Poppy came to us, he made presentations, he presented the options, and he found the best option. There has been absolutely no communication from any of your board members to any of us, and that's a mistake. And, you know, our representative should have been to see us, and our non-voting members should have been to see us and informed us of this a long time ago before we get some notice in the mail. Now, I invited, and most of them are here, a couple of them just had to leave, but I invited several of our non-voting entities. This is, I mean, I think we all understand that we're short of space. We're managing. Do we like it? No, we don't. What do you really need? That's the question. There's a lot of things that are in my mind. I'm sitting here, I'm wondering, why is there not an appraisal on that property? You're paying $500,000 more than what you have that building appraised for at the current deal. Yes, ma'am. I got it right here. I'll pull it up off your website. That building is appraised and property is at 1.5 something million dollars.
So there's also 2 extra lots that are associated with that.
Well, but see,
added onto that.
so here we are at the 11th hour finding that out.
And I understand, and I hear what you're saying.
And so my question is where is your appraisal on this property that you want to pay $2 million for? Because unless I'm mistaken, no governmental entity in the state of Texas can buy anything without having an independent appraisal done on that property.
So we're using Drew from Government Capital, which I think he's also done a few things with the county.
Who is that? I don't know who that is.
It's a company, Government Capital, who does financing, and they
Oh,
don't,
no. I said appraisal.
right, they don't require an appraisal.
I'm not saying that they require appraisal if they do or don't. I'm saying that state law probably requires you to have an appraisal. Is that not correct, Ms. Huron?
You should have an appraisal of the property, an independent appraisal. I understand Government Capital because the county does do financing with them and they may not require it, or they may send in their own appraisals to make sure that it's worth what they're financing for. But I know that this board is usually more appraisal for that large.
I definitely hear what you're saying, which is
Yeah.
why I'm asking my board to rescind the resolution, so we have more
Okay.
time to answer your questions.
And we have counsel here from the San Antonio River Authority. Counselor, what's the San Antonio River Authority position from that perspective? Yeah, if you would come to the mic so people online can hear.
Yes, sir. My name's Luis Garcia. I am the general counsel for the San Antonio River Authority. The River Authority does not have an official position at this time. We were not provided a notice of this action, and I did speak with the chief appraiser and told her I just need to do a little more research. My research and our belief initially was that we were required to receive notice. We were told we're not, and our board has not taken this matter for consideration.
Right.
So unfortunately, at this time, I don't have any
Yeah.
official position to share with you on behalf of the River Authority.
Okay, well, thank you. So, yeah, and that's the other problem is this impacts the non-voting entities too, as well as it does the voting entities. Your proposed debt for us is 10% of the cap that we're allowed each year to increase our budget without voter approval. 10%. The county's portion of that, your $83,000 something, $84,000 something dollars is 10% of what our cap will be this year on next year's, of what we can increase our budget. We are mandated by law that our budget cannot increase more than 3.5% without voter approval. That's 10% of that amount of money. That's very serious to the county. Every one of the ESDs that was able to show up here today has said the same thing. We cannot stand this $6,000 to $7,000 increase. We got Poth ISD here. I thought the city of Livonia was coming, and I mean, they have all got jobs and things to do. But in talking to these people, we all are in the same position. This was not brought to our attention in a timely manner, nor was it really thought out. Your presentation was received after the fact, and that's not what we want. You heard this lady just talk a minute ago about transparency, and that's one thing that this commission, this court, is very adamant about, is trying to be as open and honest as we can with the public. You affect every entity in the county. How do you think us as voting members feel when the non-voting members are literally at our mercy? Whatever we decide to do, they're stuck with. But as the county, we've got to represent all of these non-voting members. And look at how that impact is to us. Thank you for returning what you can. We do the same thing here. I would think that every governmental entity that's here saves every dime that they can. But everything's expensive today, and we all know that. We want open, transparent processes that meet the requirements of state law, and we're still doing our research.
I did get with Ms. Haran, and our lawyer has also reached out. We did follow the state law. We did follow what we had to do, the procedures that we had to send this resolution out.
I understand that. I'm not talking about the appraisal. Because I don't think legally you can do that without having an appraisal on that property, irrespective of whether your financier requires it or not. That's just like if I don't want to get title insurance and I can pay cash for something, I don't have to get title insurance. It's a dumb thing to do. And also in all of this, everybody has pointed out to the dissatisfaction that they've had with your office because you are not responsive to issues when there are discrepancies in appraisals, missing properties, making corrections to getting those properties on there, any assorted number of things that they've had extreme difficulty. I don't need a response. I'm telling you what I'm hearing out there. I'm not going to get into an argument. I'm telling you why we are so upset. Most of us feel like we don't get a good service from y'all. And then to have this pop up. Come to the microphone, please, sir.
There are state
Identify yourself, please. Identify yourself for the...
Ken Castro on the board. There are state mandates and report cards for appraisal districts, and they have to comply and fall within the guides that the state sets. And this appraisal district has historically performed above par. Again, being in an appraisal district, I can imagine every single appraisal district in the state of Texas is not an admirable organization for their purpose, what they do. But as far as performance goes, this appraisal district performs as well as, if not better, than most of the entire state of Texas.
We have never seen a report like that presented to our court.
Well, again...
See, this is what I'm talking about. It doesn't matter what the law is. It matters that you come to and communicate with us. For us, we're the ones that appoint you. And other entities have the people that they appoint. And, things have got to change.
We welcome any member of any taxing entity to join us in our meetings so that we put our minutes out there, what's in our meeting. We do just kind of what you do, try to be as transparent as possible. And we always have open speakers. And so if you want us to drill down into the recordings, we have those. We can provide them so that you can put them as presentation in your...
If you guys are doing a report card, it would be great to see your report card. Do it at the end of the year when you figure out what your budget is and say, hey, we did this, we've done that, whatever it is that you have in that report, and here's the amount of money.
There has never been a representative come to this court and make a presentation about anything from the Wilson County Appraisal District in the last 5.5 years that I have been on this court until today.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, moving forward, you would like the appraisal district to provide the county with a report card on performance. Is that what I'm hearing?
Whenever you do it, yes.
Just so that, again, moving forward, so that we're doing the right thing to maximize.
And I don't think you should do it for just us. I think you should make sure that everybody gets it.
That's fine. We're trying to maximize transparency. Unfortunately, the protocol that we took, it was very specific. We had an attorney involved, and she gave us the process. And we're not attorneys. We don't know what that law is. So we want to make sure that we're doing everything in accordance to law, the law that's applicable to the appraisal districts in the state of Texas. Now, the fact that there had to be an appraisal, I'm not sure that's a law, because I think our attorney would have told us that it was a mandate. So I don't know that. I don't have an answer to that question.
I'm John Sunday, also on the board. I just looked that up. The law that I read speaks to the purchase under condemnation. You need an appraisal. It's more to protect the entity being bought from. But I'm not a lawyer either, so I'll leave it alone, but that's
Well,
what I just read. real quick.
And I think,
No reason to get into-
well, no, and I think what the commissioner speaks to is a fair market value and an appraisal value. We've done business, not so great business, with the government capital lending. And so it's to make sure that this property is not being overexpensed or whatever. And I think the concern of the court is that we found out, or it was brought to the attention of this resolution by accident. Now, you may have sent notice, it may have been sent to somebody by email or not, but to find out that, and the time period is running because the law has changed, that now there is, you need really more of a disapproval of the financing than an approval, and it's automatically passed. So there was concern, they're still concerned about, appraisal district wants to consider purchasing a new building. Heads up, we're going to be doing research on it. We'll come to you when it's time. And that's what, I think that's what the court is wanting. You know, at the end of the day, you make the decision. You are your own entity. You've been authorized by statute to run the appraisal district with all the entities. But there are certain requirements. And then when it comes to budget and when it comes to purchasing of the building, the county is struggling also with space and purchase and building. And so it's just a concern to make sure that the public knows and that they know that their tax dollars are being properly reviewed and spent. So I think that's where the concern was. And so moving forward, some dialogue, some communication, maybe your representative or the appointed member of each entity can just go to their respective and say, hey, the board is considering this at the next resolution. We're mulling around purchasing a new building. The public is not being serviced with their current offices.
And the service will decrease over time.
Well, and the county is very open to that, but they're open in the front end, not so much at the back end. And so,
Sending the resolution, and our apologies to the court for not having been more transparent. Unfortunately, maybe the lack of knowledge on my part, and understanding the dynamics of how these work, we weren't as transparent as we should. So I do apologize for that.
So understand this. See, the issue, especially with Commissioners Court, is only two of us can talk about anything unless we're sitting in this courtroom. And so we have no way to discuss this outside of anywhere but this courtroom. And that makes it very difficult, and most of the other boards and commissions and school districts and all that are somewhat constrained by that same rule also. So it makes it very difficult for any of us to do this. And like I said, I talked to all 5 ESDs. I talked to the San Antonio River Authority. I talked to the City of Livonia. I talked to Poth ISD in the city of Poth and Falls City ISD, and everybody is just appalled at this. We are all, it's a terrible time, number one, because things have gotten so expensive. Number two is, this was not a complete plan that you're presenting. There's too many open questions. Nobody could even answer the simple question of, what are you going to do with the old building? Are you going to sell it and put that back? How does that fit into that equation, and how does that help reduce costs to all of us? Because this is a 20-year commitment. 20 years. That's a long time. And for us, bearing the brunt of that, we're paying for 1.6 million-ish of that $2.6 million building. That's the reality. That's the reality.
And again, I profusely apologize for the way this was handled. I can't go beyond that.
Okay? Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, we're all, I mean, it's great that, that this notice about the meeting tomorrow has come out. We know there's no guarantees. I strongly hope that you do pass this. I will tell you that I will be there. And I am encouraging anybody else in here, except for not more than one more person from the county, to be there. But they're all against it, and primarily because it's just the way that it wasn't fully thought through. I mean, we all need space, but the schools are facing declining enrollment because of voucher programs. The ESDs are having problems because they're up against the wall, and their tax base is not really increasing as fast as they would like it to keep up with what they need to spend to get people the services that they're paying for. You know, we're all, and you know, like I said, we're jammed up. Our budget is absolutely positively capped at a 3.5% increase. That's by law. And there are legislatures that are trying to reduce that to zero. So can you imagine how the county would operate if we had a zero increase in budget? Our budget would be basically frozen at $24 million a year. And you guys don't do that. You know, the legislature blessed y'all with some oddball rules that don't apply to the rest of us, and basically granted you the authority to spend whatever you want to spend without very little oversight. Yeah. And so we're stuck with paying that bill. That's what you got to remember.
Okay.
I do have a question. Y'all said that you got a quote to expand the current location of 1.9 million. Did y'all get just only one bid or more than one bid?
I reached out to a commercial builder that does metal buildings, because our building is a metal building, and that was the quote that I got.
Just only one quote?
So my recommendation is that we move forward. Let's have at least 3 or 4 months in advance. And then, as Commissioner Martin said, we can only 2 of us at a time meet, and that's not really productive. Come here, we put you on the agenda, then we talk about it, and then we move forward. I think that's the best way to do it.
Well, that's all we ask.
Yeah, and then, of course, our constituents get to see it live. They watch it.
The problem, I understand the frustration for sure, but in spite of the frustration, the problem doesn't really go away, and it's a little bit of a disservice to the staff, for starters, but also to the citizens of your precincts as well, how would you say, cram them in like cattle in a hallway with our appraisal district. So we're open to any recommendations, suggestions you might have that would get us from here to there. We're open to whatever, to including additional bids for options. So we'll be looking at things a little bit closer for sure, and we will do our best to be as transparent as we can.
I recommend that we do this, started in 3 before, that happens 3 months before, so we can start talking about it. And I will say, Ms. Coldaway, I got your email. I opened it. I was on the 5th or the 8th, and then I found out about it about a week ago after, because somebody called me, hey, you know about this? And I don't. I went back, I found it, but you did send me the email. But that's only 20 days there, and it's like, whoa, that's pretty quick.
Which, even for me, we were following the statute of the law, Texas law, appraisal district. So we were following that statute, but for me, it was the same thing. It's like, yeah, that seems a little tight of a window, and process time, I think, is more than 30 days. And that's all they gave us.
Yeah, okay.
But we'll certainly take 2 steps back, 3 steps back, however many steps backwards we need to take and revisit this.
Because, I mean, where you really need to give us statistics getting here and then what the projections are in the future, why you need this much square footage, because obviously, unfortunately, that lot has some valuable land that could be sold and split out, but not because that building sits basically right in the middle of it. It makes, you can't hardly sell a horseshoe piece of property, And so there's a lot of challenges, a lot of questions about that building. And, you've got to consider what your disposal of this building, it's got to be the whole package.
We have to, and that we did have that in our consideration, because what we were looking at is the cost, when we start to look at that 2.9 relative to, 1.9 relative to 2.6, we're looking at the delta of the new building versus the old building. And without having a really good future view on what's going to happen with commercial real estate in downtown Floresville, it's hard to really determine what that number is going to be accurate. You can swag at it. I think we're at 700,000 maybe. And so I think as we're moving forward, taking several steps back and regroup, we're going to revisit, maybe additional hardline bids, maybe actually looking at, maybe consider looking at a structure in the remodel that's more, not just based on square footage, but function perhaps. But we will dig into it a little bit. I'll see to it that we dig into the options with a little more intensity and transparency. That's, at this point, my apologies to get us here, that we're here where we're at today. All we can do is try to move forward into a better tomorrow and keep the taxpayers in mind.
Real quick, Clint, when is y'all's budget season for the school district?
Is yours
July, right? So that's another effect that whenever we're talking about schools, he can't budget for that. ESD2, y'all on a fiscal or calendar?
We can address that because the way the financing is structured, it understands the fiscal constraints of the entities. And so if you want to talk a little bit about when the actual liability would begin based on.
So I've talked with Druitt Government Capital, and with us, putting a pause on this and going to revisit it, they're able to push the payments out 14 months. So if we get this back out later on in this year, the actual first payment wouldn't be till 2028. So that gives a whole year to plan ahead to try to, get that information out that the payment wouldn't be due right in 2027.
Which will allow the entities to at least have some reaction time. Now, again, we don't know what that is at this point. We're taking a lot of steps back and regrouping. So give us an opportunity to do our due diligence to come up with something that's respectable and transparent.
Okay, the question was asked, what are y'all going to do with the current building if you proceed with purchasing the new building? And the money will?
Well, that's where, now we're talking with our finance folks, or our auditors, and there's audit verbiage in there that says, the book, it's on the books for X amount of dollars, we sell it for X amount of dollars, there's actually this much profit because of depreciation, so it gets kind of muddy. And so my knee jerk is like, okay, so if the profit, which is only a portion of the sales amount, it gets distributed back to the entities, that's not the entire sales amount. So if we were to refund the entire sales amount, what does that do to the tax liability over here? Because we have that property on the books, and so we're going to have capital gains. What does that do? So I don't think we have all of the answers to that one either, which again makes us look like, well, we didn't do enough of our homework, so apparently we didn't.
Well, I would like to think that could be rolled back into the cost and doing a pro forma of that, here's what the building is, we'll get this from the sale, this much has to be refunded to the entities, whatever. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
So the recommendation would be to take this profit from selling our building, putting it into a holding account, and at the 10-year mark, when you're able to pay down the loan, use it to pay down the loan. So it would knock off the 20 years.
And hopefully shorten that to closer to that 10-year mark.
The loan has some restrictions
Yeah.
in it to get the interest rates and everything.
So again, we don't have 100% of those answers either. So I think we do have a lot of homework to do on our, we were guided by our accountant and our.
Who's your accountant?
What do you? Vaughn?
Bond and Associates, or, I'm trying to, Raymond K. Vaughn, is that right, the auditors?
Yeah, it's the auditor.
Okay.
Yeah. And so with their input, that's how this package got put together, okay? So obviously, we got a big lesson out of this whole event as well. And so we're regrouping, reevaluating, trying to get as much information as we can, and hopefully have some answers to some of our options, which is kind of what the presentation is probably going to change, because once we receive a lot of input from other entities, not just the county, with suggestions and recommendations. So we need to take all of those and put them together and put together a better, more transparent presentation. So,
Any other questions, commissioners? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. I know this is a little painful. They were going to ask some tough questions, but we thank you. And I know you have a tough job, guys. It's a tough job.
and again, if individually, if any of you guys have any questions for us, don't hesitate to call. We appreciate what you do for us as well, and we're hoping that we can continue with future projects.
Okay, so thank you. All right, Commissioner, do you want me to read the entire resolution? That's up to y'all.
I don't know, does he need to, Ms. Huron?
No, it doesn't need to.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear it? No.
She said no.
Okay.
Then I'll make a motion to approve the resolution to the Commissioners Court of Wilson County to disapprove the proposed acquisition construction of the new appraisal district building in Wilson County.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Martin, seconded by Commissioner King. We have any other discussion regarding agenda item number 4? Hearing none, I'm going to call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against, nay. Ayes have it, motion passes.
And I just want to add, one thing that's really confusing to people is that they don't understand if they don't do anything, that means that they're voting for yes. And I mean, to me, that's a trick the legislature gave you all to kind of sneak these things through. Because I've been told that at least 2 entities didn't really understand that or how that worked. And then I'm also understanding that there's another entity that's not going to vote because they think they have a conflict of interest. And, you know, they need to talk to their attorney about whether they just need to abstain or whatever. But every entity that is a voting entity on the Wilson County Appraisal District or for the Wilson County Appraisal District needs to vote. They need to vote. They also need to remember that their vote impacts not only the other voting entities, but all of the non-voting entities, of which there's, I don't know, what is the total? 15 or 16 entities that are taxing entities across this county. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23.
Unfortunately, I can't answer to that because those are.
I understand, but I am saying this so that it's on public record, because I have done nothing since last Monday after the holiday, except talk to all of these non-voting entities and some of the voting entities to find out what their problems and concerns are so that we can convey them. Because I feel that that's our job. Not only does the county take the biggest hickey and have the biggest cost, but we represent basically all the non-voting entities that we got up there. And there's a bunch of them because only 9 votes. So there's 17 non-voting entities that have no say that this impacts their budget on. That's the reality.
And unfortunately, that's our reality as well, as the laws of Texas are written. And so I'm not sure we can change that.
We can. Commissioners' conference is in 2 weeks, and there's going to be the attorney and our legislative people, will be there. That will be a discussion that I know I'll be having with them. Because we need some reform here.
Sign
I
it.
mean, we really do. I mean, not only does it help us, but it's to help y'all, keep y'all out of trouble too.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner King, seconded by Commissioner Paradola. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against, we are adjourned at 3:40 PM. And I hope that clock's right. Thank you, guys. Thank you.